Welcome everybody to Grapple FK. We are covering the big one today. I should say tonight. It's Khabib the Eagle against Justin the highlight reel Gaetjhe. Happening on October the 24th. Probably going to be the biggest fight of the year. Masvidal and Usman did 1.3 million pay-per-views. Do you think this will beat it, Andrew? Possibly. That's 1.3 million is quite a lot, but
yeah, I said probably not.
Probably not. No.
I don't know.
But this is huge. This is huge. We'll have to see. But let's start with the stats. Khabib's obviously undefeated. Justin Gaethje's 22-2. His two losses were against Alvarez and Dustin Poirier. Pretty much the same size. Justin's got a 1-inch height advantage. In terms of wins, we know what Justin Gaethje does. I think he's won, I can't remember now, I think 17, 18 of his fights by knockout. Yeah, 86%. Ridiculous power. He only needs one shot and he can put your lights out. Khabib's got a few KOs, a few subs, and a few decisions. Average fight time, obviously, lower for Gaethje and a higher knockdown average. Let's get into significant strikes. This is interesting. According to this, Justin Gaethje absorbs more than he lands, but I think that's been tainted by the two arse whippings that he received from Alvarez and Poirier.
Yeah, definitely.
His defense is less than Khabib's. One thing I have to say about Khabib that not many people talk about is he's actually got very good punching defense. He's hard, and I'm not sure. He does kind of bob in and out, but I think a lot of it has to do with people are scared to punch him because they think they're going to get taken down. It must have something to do with that.
Yeah, I think people don't want to overcommit.
Exactly. Yeah,
they don't want to put too
overcommit
much behind it and
Yeah.
end up overextended, or wait they could get into the clinch with him.
Exactly. And he lands a lot more than he absorbs. To be honest, he barely absorbs anything. I can't remember the last time I saw Khabib with like a bruised face.
Yeah, me neither.
Grappling, yeah, I mean Khabib's obviously got the advantage here. Although Justin Gaethje is an all-American NCAA Division 1 champion, so very high-level pedigree wrestling background. He used to show it earlier in his fights in when he first started on the regional circuits. Hasn't really shown it in the UFC. Has shown great takedown defense in the UFC. And I read a stat somewhere, Andrew, that he's only been kept on the ground for like a total of, it's less than a minute overall.
Okay.
Yeah, in the UFC.
So
very hard to keep down.
I don't think he's fought too many wrestlers either.
Alvarez is a wrestler. Michael Johnson's a wrestler. You can check now. Yeah, so Michael Johnson's a wrestler.
I mean, Tony Ferguson, but Tony Ferguson didn't try to take it to the ground.
No, so Michael Johnson took him down once. Alvarez took him down once. And yeah, he's never been taken down. Is James Vick a wrestler? I don't think he is he?
Don't think so, no.
Edson Barbosa is a striker. Donald Cerrone's BJJ striking. And Tony Ferguson's a wrestler, but didn't really go for it. So that's a good point. He hasn't really fought any high-level wrestlers, and he's coming up against the best combat grappler in the world now. But yeah, those are the stats. Obviously, a lot of build-up, a lot of hype around this fight. This is huge. What are your initial thoughts?
There are a few key questions we need to ascertain or ask ourselves. Just how good is Justin Gaethje's wrestling? And that's impossible to know because we haven't seen it in the UFC. I don't think we've even seen it in the World Series of Fighting before that. So as you said, he's an NCAA Division 1 champion, which is fantastic. But if you don't use it in MMA and you haven't been training, it's been a long time since he competed in the NCAA. He hasn't been training at that level for many, many years. So it's up in the air as to how much that really means. We just don't know how good he is.
That's a very good point.
I suspect it's decent. There's a base level there that's never going away. If you're an NCAA champion, there's a base standard that's never going to disappear.
Yeah.
That stays with you. Maybe he's not going to be taking people down at will, but there's something there. And part of me wonders whether that base level is good enough to A, stop the takedowns, and B, if and when he does get taken down by Khabib, can he create enough space and create a scramble and get back to the feet? Because if his wrestling is good enough to do that, that can change the whole game.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then Gaetjhe has an avenue to win.
Yeah. And just to add to that, he's actually brought back into his camp his old high school wrestling coach.
High school?
In addition to Trevor Whitman, who's his head coach.
High school wrestling?
Sorry, collegiate wrestling coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah. Just for the UK and the European viewers, Justin Gaethje is an NCAA level 1 champion. That's the highest level of collegiate wrestling in the USA. So he's got a very high pedigree in wrestling. The other question is, and just to add to that, Andrew, is wrestling is one thing, freestyle wrestling, folk wrestling, whatever you want to call it, Greco-Roman wrestling. Wrestling in the cage or the octagon, we know, is completely different. It's getting someone up against the cage. It's foot sweeps with Khabib. It's sambo included in it. It's tripping people up. Can Justin Gaethje stop that? He may be able to stuff a takedown in the middle of the ring. Can he stop a trip against the cage, or can he stop relentless attacks on his legs up against the cage? That's the question.
Well, first of all,
I suspect no, because he hasn't before. He's never been in that situation.
Well, first of all, Khabib is going to have to get him up against the cage.
Yeah.
And in order for him to do that, he's going to have to take him down somewhere near the cage, or back him up with strikes against the cage. I mean, I'm trying to think, because obviously Khabib mauled Dustin Poirier against the cage. I'm just trying to remember how he got him there.
I think people are just they back up naturally from Khabib because they're so scared of the takedown. And he does pressure people. His striking's not the best. It's decent. It's got a lot better over the years. But I just think people are just so scared of the takedown. They know it's unlike any other takedown. If he takes you down, you are on the ground for 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah. It zaps you. That's the fight gone. You get up, you're a completely different fighter. So they've got that in the back of their mind. And also, just to add to that, Khabib has taken people down in the middle of the cage too. So it's, I mean, the question you asked initially is the main question around this fight is Justin Gaethje's wrestling good enough to fend Khabib off? We know his striking is better than Khabib's. We know he's got more one-punch KO power. We know he's got an amazing calf kick now that can completely damage people's legs.
I don't think he can do that, though. Calf kicks against a wrestler, that's probably not a good idea.
Could probably get away with a few.
Maybe.
And also from his point of view, you have to slow Khabib down somehow. You can't just do it via hands, because if you're striking, your legs are open. So he has to mix and kick somehow.
Yeah, it's such a difficult style to prepare for. In the Iaquinta fight, he had some. Iaquinta had some moments of success at the very beginning, and then some sporadic moments later on. And he was in a very low wrestling stance, and he was pushing forward at times. Just throwing punches that way, and that got Khabib backing up at certain points, which is fantastic, because if you're backing somebody up, they're not going to shoot a double leg on you. But when you're crouching down like this, it's very difficult to actually land shots.
Well, yeah, which is why he got his face jabbed off.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And that's a fight that people bring up quite a lot, and they say, and it's because people have done so badly overall against Khabib. People bring that fight up a lot, and they say, Iaquinta did well and he gave Khabib problems. I really don't think he did. I think Khabib won that conclusively.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
He won every single
yeah.
round.
I mean, if we check the stats right now, the stats are probably going to be something ridiculous in terms of strikes.
Yeah, Khabib landed
So
like
you're yeah,
double.
134 to 41. So
Oh,
you know,
fuck.
yeah, 6 takedowns to 0. What the fuck are people talking about? I mean, that is an absurd. That's ridiculous to even suggest that he was in the fight is absurd. He wasn't. He got fucked up over 5 rounds. He stuffed a few takedowns. He did well on short notice, but
Well, in terms of takedowns, yeah, Khabib got 6 out of 13, or no, 6 out of 15. So Khabib attempted 15 takedowns, and he only got 6. And most of those, 5 of those came in the first 2 rounds, I think. Which kind of leads me on to a very important point. Khabib gets tired. And
I don't think he does. I have to disagree with you there. I really don't think he does.
Well, let me tell you why I think he gets tired. He comes out the gate, first round, second round, extremely strong. For example, against, Iaquinta, Poirier, McGregor. Comes out extremely strong. Then in the third round and fourth round, he'll often take the round off. And I think it was in the Iaquinta fight between rounds 2 and 3 or 3 and 4, or even both of those rounds, Javier Mendez was telling Khabib, stick to the game plan and take him down. Please, he said the word please just take him down. So I think that was the game plan, but I think Khabib just ran out of energy. I think he was too tired to go for the takedowns. So he took the round off where he stands and jabs for 5 minutes to try and get air back into his lungs and get enough energy to start again in the next round. And for me, that is a crucial opportunity. And that's just not one fight where he's done that. That's happened in multiple fights. He's taken rounds off. That presents a crucial opportunity for Justin Gaethje.
I'll tell you why I disagree with that. Same thing happened in the Conor fight. Third round against the Conor fight is the only round, according to the UFC, that Khabib's lost. Same thing happened. Javier Mendez said, just go stick to the game plan. What the fuck are you doing? He came straight back out in the fourth round, took him straight down and choked him out.
Yeah, because he took the third round off. Because that's his resting round.
No, I just think he wanted to prove that he could strike with him.
But he's done this in multiple fights. Like he's done this with Iaquinta, McGregor.
Because he wants to prove he can strike with people. I genuinely don't think he gets tired. The way he trains, the stories that come out of his camp, I don't actually think he gasses.
But
I think
what he does for 25 minutes, I don't think that's possible.
Well, apparently it is. I mean, according to the stories that come out of his camp.
This is the thing. This is kind of a narrative as well.
Yeah.
People mythologize Khabib. They say, "Oh yeah, he never gets tired." Of course he gets tired. He's an MMA fighter wrestling for 5 rounds. Of course he gets tired. I mean, that's obvious. You can't do what he does.
There's a difference between tired and fatigued, though. He does not get fatigued. He'll still throw in the 5th round. He'll still take people down in the 5th round. He still came out and took Conor completely down and submitted him. So I don't think he gets. I don't think he slows down. I still think he can keep up output. He can still keep up with the takedowns and so on throughout the fight. But I mean, you may be right.
We saw in the Iaquinta fight.
Yeah, but the problem with the Iaquinta fight is he was outlanding him so badly. He didn't have to take him down. If you're outlanding someone by 80 shots over the fight, why would you go for the takedown?
But why would you stand and bang with Conor McGregor when you know Conor McGregor can knock you out at any time?
Because he knew he didn't have the power in the 3rd round. He knew he didn't have the power.
Exactly, so he was taking the round off because he was tired.
Or maybe he wanted to prove that he could do it.
I think I don't think so. Trying to prove a point against one of the UFC's greatest strikers is a very foolish thing to do.
Well, I mean,
I don't think he's that stupid.
According to him, he threw his head into a guillotine against Dustin Poirier so he could tire his arm out. So maybe he is that stupid.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that to President Putin when he had an interview with him.
No, maybe that was a joke.
No, he meant it. Watch the interview after this.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, you could be right about that. I could be right about that. The only person who really knows that is Khabib.
Yeah.
But so I mean, that is a point to acknowledge that he does take rounds off, and that's where Gaethje could probably capitalize.
Yeah, and this is important because if Khabib is taking a round or two off against Iaquinta, that's fine. Iaquinta is not going to knock you out, probably. If you do that
Yeah,
against
probably
Conor
not.
McGregor in round 3, where he's lost his energy and explosivity, you're probably okay as well. If you do it
Yeah.
against Gaethje, where he's got the power for 5 rounds, probably, then it's a different story.
I suspect he won't have the power for 5 rounds after Khabib lies on his back for a few minutes around.
That's another question. Yes,
He had the power for 5 rounds because Tony Ferguson didn't go for any takedowns and lay on him.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what the biggest factor in my opinion is, and you know more about this than I do. You know a lot more about this than I do. I think the biggest gap between their skill sets, forget the striking, I see this as a day and night difference, I genuinely do, is BJJ. I just think Khabib's BJJ is a lot more high level than Justin Gaethje's. Fuck the white belt stuff. He does no-gi. We know he does no-gi. So forget the white belt. His BJJ is a lot better than Justin Gaethje's. And I suspect once he gets him on the ground, we've never seen Justin Gaethje on the ground. He's only had one submission, and that was 6 or 7 years ago. Khabib's submitting Dustin Poirier, a black belt. He submitted Conor McGregor. Okay, that's not the best submission. He submitted Michael Johnson. He's submitted some serious BJJ guys. And I just think, I think to myself, what if he gets Justin's back? Or what if because we've seen outside of the UFC where Khabib has triangled people. He's got 3 triangles on his record against good opposition. So I think BJJ is a very big gap between these two fighters. I just don't think Justin Gaethje can match him in the BJJ department. Striking is definitely better, but I think overall grappling, BJJ, wrestling, judo, whatever you want to throw into that, I just think Khabib's a different league to him.
That's a good point. Yeah. So I mean, Justin Gaethje is going to rely on that wrestling base in order to not get taken down, or if he does get taken down, scramble and get back up straight away.
Exactly, which he's done in the past.
Yeah. But I mean, Justin Gaethje only needs a few minutes of standing time to really hurt him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another question because we've just never really seen Khabib hit before properly. I mean, he's taken one flush in the chin against Dustin.
He took a few shots against Dustin.
Michael Johnson.
Iaquinta landed some decent shots.
Conor McGregor landed a few flush shots. He took those.
Yeah, so Khabib's got a chin. He's got a decent.
He's got a chin, but has he got a chin that can take Justin Gaethje's relentless attacks? Not sure. But I mean, I'd give it a 30% chance of Gaethje KOing him. Gaethje can KO anyone. He needs one shot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the Edson Barbosa KO. It was just kind of, spiraling around the fucking octagon. He just gave him one shot and he fell over.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Khabib does hold his head pretty high.
Yeah, he does.
And he did make some fundamental mistakes. In the 3rd round against Conor McGregor, he was standing very upright, literally in front of him.
Yeah, I think he did a lot of that on purpose. And he got told off for it as well in the corner. I just think he had a wild moment. He wanted to prove to people that he could stand with him. It was stupid, but I think also it was very calculated as well. He knew it wasn't round 1 Conor. If you remember back to round 1, he literally shot the safest single you could shoot and picked his ankle, got him up, spun him around. Conor got out of the initial takedown attempt, spun him around again, and then took him down, took him to the side of the cage, wrapped his legs up, and just tired him out for the first round. Very boring first round. But Khabib knew first and the second round, I could get KO'd. 3rd round, after me lying on him for 5 minutes and beating the shit out of him in the second, probably not, because has Conor knocked anyone out in the 3rd round? I don't think he has. I think all
No.
his knockouts have been in the first and second. So
That's true, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so obviously, I think we both think Khabib is going to win.
Yeah, I think Khabib's just. Yeah, I mean, going on to predictions, I think Khabib will win, and I think he will probably submit Justin. And the reason I think that is because Khabib's BJJ is just a lot more advanced than Justin's.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I can see problems where Justin doesn't quite know what to do off his back, and that's what BJJ is to a large extent.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Khabib is going to win. I think at some point he's going to take Justin down, probably. And he'll do what he usually does. Whether he's able to submit him or not, I honestly don't know. Yeah, so I think Khabib will win. I don't think Khabib is as infallible and as invincible as most people think he is. There are some issues there. The fact that style is tiring. That does leave opportunity for Gaetjhe. But yeah, you still got to give it to Khabib.
Yeah, if Gaethje had better BJJ submission grappling and he used his wrestling more in fights, then it would be completely 50-50. Actually, I would lean more towards Gaethje because he's got one punch KO power, but he doesn't use his wrestling. He only uses defensive wrestling. You can't suddenly just switch it back on against the best wrestler in the UFC, arguably.
Yeah.
And even if you leave the wrestling aside, I mean, look at Khabib's record: rear naked choke, neck crank, Kimura, KO TKO punches, KO TKO elbows, sub rear naked choke. I mean, this guy can ground and pound you. I don't think he can do it to Justin, but I think there's a very high possibility he could submit Justin in the third or the fourth via a rear naked choke.
Yeah. Just one thing, Justin, irrespective of the fact that he hasn't used his wrestling, does
Yeah,
have the best pedigree of anybody, the best wrestling pedigree of anybody that Khabib has faced.
yeah.
And Khabib hasn't faced a high level wrestler yet. We can say, oh yeah, Michael Johnson has a wrestling background, Ally Quinta has a wrestling background. It's not quite the same thing as an NCAA champion.
No, it's not.
And
You're
I think
right.
people overlook this. And this could be the time where that wrestling doesn't look quite as dominant.
But again, this is a completely different type of wrestling. NCAA is open mat wrestling. This is completely different. This is trips. This is BJJ involved. This is submissions. It's just completely different. And the type of MMA wrestling that has evolved, Justin Gaethje just does not use it. He's not used it in his fights. His takedown defense is very, very good, but he does not submit people. He does not trip people against the cage. He doesn't go for takedowns. And I just don't think he can turn it on against Khabib now. It's too late. You can't just suddenly learn all these tricks.
It's not about learning the tricks. It's about having the ability to scramble when you're getting taken down. That's all he needs to do. And part of me thinks, I'm not saying this will happen, but part of me thinks that if Ally Quinta can stuff 9 out of 15 takedowns, Justin Gaethje can probably stuff more. It's that scramble, it's the chaos when he's got your legs, your ass hits the floor, and then what do? You immediately create space and get the fuck out of there. I think he may have the wrestling base to be able to do that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he
Yeah, his
stuffs a
takedown
lot of those
defense is very
takedowns.
yeah, his takedown defense is very high, but I just think Khabib will just keep chasing the takedown until he gets it. And he will get a takedown at some point in the fight. Whether it's
Yeah,
round 1 or round 2. And I don't know, man. Once that guy sticks to you, it's hard to get him off you. And I think if he gets Justin in a unfamiliar position for him, like takes his back or something, I think it could be.
My concern for Khabib, if he doesn't submit Gaethje in, say, the first 2 rounds, he's going to have a difficult time taking him down in the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round. Because that's what happened with Iaquinta. I mean, basically, 4th and 5th round, Khabib gave up on the wrestling. That's it. We can argue, yes, he was having too much success, punching the jab, and he was easily winning the stand-up game. I still think it was because he was tired. And yeah, Gaethje is going to exploit those moments of the fight towards the end of the fight more than Iaquinta did.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I just think Gaethje's only chance is to one punch KO him, basically. Defend a few takedowns, KO him early. I think if he doesn't KO him in the first 2 rounds, by the time Khabib wears him down in the 3rd and the 4th, will be very, very difficult. And Khabib does have a chin. He's never been KO'd before. He's never been dropped before.
Yeah.
So I think Justin does have a chance. I'll give him a 30% chance. But I think that chance is literally in the first two rounds of the fight and possibly some of the early segment of the 3rd round. I think after that, it'll be difficult for him.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give Gaethje a 35% chance of winning this. 35% chance of winning this. But yeah, I'd probably say Khabib grinds out a decision. But I also think this will be the hardest fight he's ever had, probably.
Yeah, this will be the hardest fight he's ever had.
I also think, I don't want to be a dick. I don't want to detract from anything Khabib has done. His record in the UFC, actually, he's got better recently with Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor. I mean, before that, it's not the best record.
Well, he demolished Edson Barbosa. He beat RDA on an undercard ages ago. Absolutely made him look like an amateur, pretty much.
Before that was Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson was 4th when he fought him. Okay. Darrell Horcher was a last minute. Abel Trujillo is a very good wrestler. I think he set a record in that fight. I mean, he beat whoever they put in front of him. You can only beat who's put in front of you, right? Tony Ferguson fight never happened, but I mean, to be honest, I think Khabib will beat Tony. I just don't think Tony can fend off Khabib's takedowns. I think Justin Gaethje is probably the hardest fight we'll ever have in this division. Which is remarkable because this is the most stacked division. Yeah. But I think official prediction, I'm going to go with Khabib 4th round sub.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Khabib decision.
And I'm probably going to put some money on a Justin Gaethje KO, although I suspect the odds won't be great.
Let's have a look. So Khabib is a -300 favorite, which isn't bad, to be honest. And Khabib is, let's have a look. Just a second. And Justin is a +225 underdog.
And I'm assuming they won't have the KO stats yet. It's too far away, isn't it?
They do.
Oh, do they?
A Justin KO is +350.
Okay.
Are you going to put Khabib in the cum-cum?
I'm putting Khabib in the risky cum-cum 100%.
Yep, same here.
Yeah, 100%.
I might hedge that with a Justin KO.
Yeah, I'm doing exactly the same. That's exactly what I was thinking. Risky come Khabib and hedge it.
Yeah.
Because I think there are some. I've had an initial look at the card. I think there are some very safe fights on this card.
Who else have we
I
got?
would have loved it if Islam was still on the card because I think that was a very safe fight in my opinion. I don't think RDA would have done much against Islam.
Yeah, RDA's done at this point.
Yeah, he's done now.
He's done. Yeah.
So, but there are some fights that I think are pretty safe. So,
which fights are you thinking?
I think Ankalaev will beat Ian definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He already has. And then there was a few on the prelims that I saw that I need to look at again. And then I may do some usual individual bets, probably put some money down on a Cannonier KO. I think that's very likely to happen. We can have a look at the prelims now.
Yeah. Yeah, we got Taito Ivasa versus Stefan Struve.
Oh shit! Yeah, I was going to go
fight.
with Uma, but he's out as well.
Oh, okay.
I like Alvarez in this fight.
Yeah, he was good. He's the good Spanish guy. Had his debut recently, right? Yeah, he's good.
I'll look into this. Nathaniel Wood's pretty good. Sam Alvey's back again. Stefan Struve against Taito Vasu. I think
they're both useless. I mean,
Struve's just faced a lot better opposition. He's a lot more experienced.
I think he's being knocked out by him. Better competition.
Yeah, he's about 7 foot though, isn't he?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Fuck, man, I could have done with Islam on this card.
He's still on the website. But I mean, the UFC never updates their website, so...
Yeah.
That's a shame. That'd be a good fight.
Well, Uma's definitely out as well with the staph infection. He's been hospitalized. Nathaniel Wood's decent. I'll look into that fight.
Yeah, I think Casey Kenny is also quite good, though.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. But yeah, I think with this fight, I think the main difference will be... the main question is the question you asked initially. Can Justin Gaethje keep him off? I think he can to an extent, but eventually Khabib will get to him.
Yeah, probably. But Khabib needs to get to him in 3 rounds.
Yeah, I think Khabib will go for it in the first round. As in, he'll shoot in the first round at some point.
Yes.
He needs to tire him out. Sure. Yeah, he needs to tire him out straight away. You can't fuck around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah.
All right. That's it. We've both got Khabib, folks. He's going in the risky come, but we are hedging that with a Justin Gaethje KO because that guy can KO anyone. Quick question, just before we say bye to our very loyal fans, and thank you everyone for watching. Do you think Khabib can KO him? Because Khabib has KO'd people before. Obviously not as many as Justin, but do you think there's a chance? You don't think there's a chance?
No, not at all. Well, who was the last person he KO'd?
I can't remember. He has got KOs on his record in the UFC, and he's got TKOs from ground and pound. But then also he knocked down Conor McGregor. I'm just thinking.
That's true.
Yeah. At some point, will Justin be so scared of the takedown that he leaves himself open? Given that Justin's been KO'd twice.
Yeah, I mean, Justin's chin has been cracked for sure.
Yeah.
So the last person Khabib KO'd was Thiago Tavares in 2013.
And that was a very unusual punch. That was such an unusual punch. I remember that. That was like a kind of shovel punch. Kind of like a halfway uppercut cross.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Khabib's got got the striking ability to knock him out. I mean, it's much improved recently, and yes, he did drop Conor McGregor. Probably because Conor McGregor was, looking at his, expecting the takedown, as you said.
Yeah, he was expecting the takedown. Well, he actually feinted the takedown. He went down, and obviously Conor McGregor read it as a takedown. And as he feinted the takedown, he came with the overhand.
That's pretty smart, yeah.
That was very smart. Yeah, very smart move. Yeah. I don't think that happened to Justin though. Actually, thinking about it now, because Justin keeps his hands up.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'll be as scared.
I'm tempted to pick Justin for this. I feel like Justin could win this. And yeah, but part of me just thinks that Khabib is not as good as everybody thinks he is. I think, yeah, Justin really could win this. But I'm still putting Khabib in the risky come.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he's got like a 30-35% chance of winning, as you said. He's definitely got a shot. He's definitely got a shot. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just can't. I don't know. I can't. It's difficult to bet against Khabib. It's difficult. Yeah, I don't know. I still think Khabib will win this. I think one of the biggest differentiators is everyone keeps going on about, oh, Justin's a way better striker. We know that. He's a phenomenal striker, and Khabib isn't the best striker in the world. We know that. I just think Khabib's a lot better at BJJ. And Justin, they give that stat. They've put that stat out a few times. He's only been on the mat for a minute. That's also very concerning in a way. Because if you've only been on the mat for a minute, if Khabib gets on top of you, gets a hold of your neck, and you've never been in that position before in a UFC fight against a guy who's very good at BJJ, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, well, there you go, folks. We've both got Khabib, but we are going to hedge it with a bet on a Justin KO, and that's plus 330, right? That's
plus 350.
Plus 350, sorry. So stay tuned for more fight picks. We'll be doing Whittaker and Cannonier very soon and covering other fights from the main card and prelims. As always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please like the videos and leave any comments. Take care. Bye.